Hello and welcome, this is Noah with Nomad Gaming, and thank you for joining us for another video about the Marvel Champions LCG. Marvel Champions is a living card game produced and distributed by Fantasy Flight Games. If you are looking for a place to see more Marvel Champions strategy, deck building, and of course gameplay, hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications to keep up to date with our channel. Today we are going to continue our Doctor Strange reviews and specials with a quick Doctor Strange starter deck upgrade. We did this with the Black Widow expansion, got some positive feedback, and so we are going to do it again for those of you that are wondering what to do to upgrade your out-of-the-box Doctor Strange expansion. Let's take a quick look at our hero's identity card. We have Stephen Strange with 3 recover. He's a mystic who has the two abilities. First, he's going to start the game with an invocation deck, which is a special set of cards we'll look at in just a moment. And he also has the natural talent ability, which is an action that says we can discard the top card of that invocation deck. Then we have Doctor Strange, our hero, who has a 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 defense. He's an Avenger Mystic with the Spell Mastery action that says exhaust Doctor Strange to pay the cost of the top card of the invocation deck and then resolve the special ability on that card. Let's take a quick peek at that invocation deck so we understand what we're playing with. This is a set of 5 cards that are going to be played separate from our main deck. We have Crimson Bands of Sidorak, which is going to deal direct damage and stun. Images of Icon, which is going to confuse the villain and remove threat. 7 Rings of Ragador, which gives tough status cards out to our characters. Vapors of Valtor, which is going to help us replace the status cards with a different one on the table. And then finally, Winds of Watum is a powerful card drawing tool that we can play out of our invocation deck. So these cards are a supplemental extra thing. We get to activate that action and then do the card. The top card of the invocation deck is face up so that we know what it is and we can play that card as it would be appropriate, or we can use some of our other cards like Doctor Strange or Wong to get rid of that card and try it again. Speaking of Wong, let's take a quick look at our signature cards that we have here. Of course, Doctor Strange comes with a 15-card signature pool. He has a signature ally in Wong, who is a Mystic 3-cost ally. He has 3 health, 1 thwart, and 2 attack with 1 consequential damage, but he has the action Exhaust Wong to choose to either heal 1 damage from your identity or discard the top card of the invocation deck. Discarding the invocation deck really lets us cycle through it to try to get to what we need at any given moment, and with only 5 cards there, it's a pretty effective tool. So Wong is a central piece to this between him and Doctor Strange, allowing us to manipulate what's on top of the deck if we want to get to something else. We've also got several events. We have Astral Projection, which is going to allow us to remove threat. We've got Magic Blast, which has sort of like that Hulk-like ability where we check out the top card of our deck and then we get to do something based on the resource icon. Good all-around card, could stun, deal damage, confuse, or all of those things. Then we've got Master of the Mystic Arts. It's a 1-cost event that we can use to play the top card of the invocation deck by resolving its special ability. Then we get to put it back on top of the deck, so we get to do it twice consecutively if we have another way to activate our invocation deck. We've got Mystical Studies, which lets us search the card and discard pile for a Doctor Strange card and bring it back to our hand. And then we have Protective Ward, which is a hero interrupt that cancels a treachery. We've also got the Sanctum Sanctorum, that is has an alter ego action. It is a support, and its alter ego action is exhaust to shuffle a spell card from your discard pile back into your into your deck and draw a card. We've got Cloak of Levitation as an upgrade. It gives us the aerial trait, and then it allows us to exhaust to ready. Then we have Magical Enhancements, 2 of these. This is an upgrade that we get to play under any player's control. It gives us +1 thwart, +1 attack, and +1 defense, but only for the rest of the round, and then it goes back into our discard pile. Finally, the Eye of Agamotto is an upgrade that gives us a resource ability that we can exhaust to generate a wild resource. It's a hero resource, so that's the only restriction on it, but it does give us wild resources. So, what I see from the strategy here, we're going to want to get into our hero form. When we get into hero form, we're probably going to want to stay in hero form for as long as possible, trying to get as much value out of things that we can. If we have to go back to alter ego form, it's going to be to manipulate our invocation deck or to possibly try to heal up if we need to. So This deck comes with a pre-built protection deck. Let's take a look at what's in the deck and what I would do to change it. The ideas that I have for trying to make it a little bit more efficient. Let's be fair though, The deck out of the box is super fun to play. Great build, one of the strongest pre-built decks that we've gotten from FFG so far. But let's look at what we would do to maybe streamline it a little bit and shift some things around. Starting off with our allies, we get 3 allies in the deck. To start with, we have Brother Voodoo, Jericho Drum. He's a 3-cost ally with 2 thwart, 1 attack, and 3 health. He gets 2 consequential damage for thwarting and 1 for attacking, but his cool function in the deck is that he has a responsibility after he enters play. Search the top 5 cards of your deck for an event card and add it to your hand. Remember, Doctor Strange's signature pool is loaded with useful event cards. Maybe we'll add a couple also to the build here. So he's a great tool. We're going to want to use him early and often and try to get him to pull something out of the deck that is got just the right timing and just the right effect. Clea is a low-cost ally. She's 2 costs for 1 thwart, 1 attack, and 2 health. She suffers 1 consequential damage for either of her activation actions, but she has an interrupt that says when she's defeated, shuffle her into our owner's deck. So she's sort of a repeatable blocker. Get some utility out of her. And finally, Iron Fist, Danny Rand, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 1 consequential damage each. He's a 4-cost, 3 health defender, and when he comes into play, he gets 2 mystic counters, but when he attacks, you remove a mystic counter, and he stuns that enemy and deals an extra damage to it. So, useful to pass around some stuns here. Definitely probably going to want to use those stuns on the villain where possible, or maybe some of the really nasty minions, but highly useful, great utility here. Really excited for this ally to be in the game. We are not going to change up any of the allies in this deck. We're going to keep all 3 of these. I'm not adding any allies to the deck at this time. We've got a ton of different ways to add stun, so Mockingbird would be one of the ones I would look at normally, but she's not going to come in because we do have those ways to add stun. And then Nick Fury, he's powerful, super utility, but I just don't see a way to get him into the deck here that makes any sense. The other option that we have is that we could do Luke Cage or Nova, but neither one of them really synergize with what we're doing with the deck. We don't have the energy icons to support Nova, and Luke Cage is expensive and defensive, but I just don't feel like he adds anything to what we have, and we've got some ideas to try to keep us in hero form other than just having Luke Cage defend. So let's take a look at what else we've got. In the event slot, we came with 3 new events into the deck. We've got Momentum Shift. It's a 3 of. It's a 2-cost event that heals 2 damage from our hero and deals 2 damage to an enemy. This card is sterling. I like it a lot. I'm going to keep it in the deck. We've got 3 Desperate Defense. Now this card is super exciting to have in the player pool, but I just don't feel like we want to be defending with Doctor Strange. We want him to be active on our turn so that we can activate his ability by exhausting, and we want to be able to do it twice if possible to get 2 cards played from that invocation deck, which is ultra powerful. So while there are 3 copies of it here, I'm going to take it out of the deck, and then we've got 3 copies of Warning, which prevents damage to our hero. This keeps us in hero form, even though it's only 1 damage at a time. If we can drop a couple of these in a game, it can probably amount to 1 extra turn in hero form, which could be the difference between winning and losing a scenario. So let's take out that Desperate Defense and take a look at what we're going to add. I want to add First Aid. I want to add 2 copies of it to the deck. It lets us heal any character, so we can heal up one of our allies. Probably only Luke Cage is going to be a target of that if we do it on an ally, but usually it's going to be a target to our hero so that we can keep him in hero form and take advantage of his abilities again. Then we're going to have Tackle. I'm going to go 3 copies of Tackle into the deck. This is a hero action. Stun an enemy. If you paid for this card using a physical resource, deal 3 damage to that enemy. Having the extra stuns is going to let us not take attacks, which lets us stay in hero form and keep doling out the business with our invocation deck. So I like this a lot. It's also an event. We can pull it out with Brother Voodoo. Synergies are pretty good, and there's a ton of cards in this deck that have physical resources. Alright, quickly looking at the supports, we've got the Night Nurse, and Night Nurse here is one of our new cards. She's a 1-cost support that allows her to exhaust. She's got 3 medical counters, and when you remove one of those counters, you heal 1 damage from a hero and discard a status card from it. So this is going to heal up incidentally our hero. He's also going to remove status cards if we don't have one of our other ways to manipulate or use those status cards from our signature pool or invocation deck. We've got 2 copies of Med Team here. I like Med Team. It keeps us in hero form. I'm going to play it. I'm going to keep it in the deck. And then Avengers Mansion. It's tough to beat the utility here. Max 1 per player lets you draw a card. I'm going to keep this in the deck. I don't know. A lot of times when I play it, I don't actually play it. It gets spent as a resource in my deck. But it's good to have it here. I'm excited to continue playing it. So we're going to keep support just like it is. Let's take a quick peek at upgrades. This deck comes with another upgrade that I'm really excited about. Unflappable is a condition upgrade that says play under any player's control, max 1 per player. It has a response, and after you defend against an attack and take no damage, you can exhaust Unflappable to draw a card. Again, I don't want to be defending with Doctor Strange, so I'm going to take all of these out of the deck. But I like the card a ton. I'm going to be playing it in a bunch of decks. Very excited to have it in the pool. It's a 1 cost. Super easy inclusion in your protection builds, especially your multiplayer protection builds where you can toss this on a couple of different players and kind of get incidental card draw throughout the game. High value, love the card, but not going to keep it into the deck for this upgrade. The other card we have here is the Sorcerer Supreme. It's a 2 cost upgrade. It's a title, but you can only play it if you have the Mystic trait, but you get +1 hand size while you're in hero form. Love this card. We're staying in hero form as much as possible, so let's try to take advantage of the extra hand size and have some fun with that. So swapping out for Unflappable, though, we're going to put in 2 copies of Indomitable. If we do defend, which is a last-ditch bad thing we don't want to do, we want to be able to get ready again so we can be ready coming into hero turn. So I want 2 copies of this in the deck. We'll put them on the table, hopefully never use them, but if we do, we have the option to ready ourselves for free here, and then we can use our activations of Doctor Strange and the Cloak of Levitation to take advantage of our Invocation deck. Alright, finally we've got resource cards here. Of course we're running the solid 5 suite that we put into every deck. We've got 2 Power of Protection, Energy, Genius, and Strength. They have value here. The cost is going to work out. We don't have a ton of resource mashing that we're looking for, but we just want to have this extra value to get stuff out on the table. So I got them all in here. And that's going to bring us to our deck list, folks. I really appreciate you being with us here. We'll close it out in just a second, but this is the deck list. We'll have it available for you to look at down in the description below if you would like to take a look at it, download it, take it for a spin on your own, or build this deck and take it for a spin in paper. Please do so and let us know how you feel about this deck. What upgrades did you make to the deck? How do you shift around the cards? What are you taking out? What are you putting in? Let us know, and thank you for joining us. And that does it again for another video from Nomad Gaming. That was our Doctor Strange starter deck upgrade. We can't wait to get these cards more worked into the flow of play, being able to see what we're going to do. Looking forward to building some decks with Doctor Strange in other aspects. So we're excited to have it there. Please leave us a comment. Tell us what you're thinking about Doctor Strange. How are you building him? What aspects do you want to see us build, and how? If you made it this far in the video, do us the huge favor of hitting like, share, and subscribe. Turn on your notifications. And until next time, folks, let's go game.